I am going to use these bottles to propagate some hydrangea shrubs in my garden, the old-fashioned ones more specifically. And I want to use these bottles like a greenhouse for the cuttings. So what I'm doing is I'm washing out these apple juice bottles, and I'm going to put holes in them, fill them with dirt, create a cover, and then I'm going to put them in a shady location in the garden so that the cuttings could develop roots. And then from there, I'm going to up-pot the cuttings to pots and overwinter them, and then in the spring plant them out in the garden. At least that is the plan. So I'm starting at the beginning stage here with washing out these bottles and getting them ready for the process. This is one of the hydrangeas that I would like to propagate. It is an old-fashioned hydrangea. I don't know the name of it. I was given a cutting from my mother. She had gone to the church's garden, and they had given her a couple of blooms, and she put it in water and it rooted, and she gave the rooted cutting to me, and I put it here in the garden. Well, I would like to propagate this, and so I'm going to take a couple of cuttings of this hydrangea, and I want to put it in the container and watch it grow. And this is what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? I also want to take cuttings of this lace cap hydrangea as well, and I want to propagate it and add it to the garden. And this is very, very beautiful. I'm also going to take a cutting of this one as well. It's a deep blue. It's very pretty. So I think that is it. I went down into the garden and I cut 2 branches from the lace cap, which is on this side, the lace cap hydrangea, and then 2 branches from the mop head style hydrangea. I have 4 bottles that I have cut and washed, cut, and I put holes in the bottom of the container. I am going to fill them up with compost, and then I'm going to place the stems or the cuttings into the container. Now, I am not going to leave all of the leaves that you see here. I'm going to cut off the big leaves and maybe cut it down to size so that they can fit in the container. And I may end up having cuttings to try out in smaller containers, but let's start with this first to see what we get. I filled the container with compost from my garden, and also with a mix of the tropical potting mix that I had from Miracle Grow here. So to lighten up the compost a little bit, but the compost is what's going to give the cuttings the food that they need, the nourishment, and the potting soil will keep it light and airy in the pot. And this is how far we are right now. I was able to fill the pots or the containers right now, and what I'm going to do is measure out how much I want. So I did, as I said, cut them pretty big. So I'm going to determine how I'm going to do this. And I'll let you see in the end. You want to definitely get a node here, and you want to bury that node because that's where the roots are going to come out of. So when I put it down, I want to make sure that at least one of these nodes are in there. Now, if I do use this one, I will get it down in there, and I'll be able to also save some of the leaves. So I believe that I'm going to cut it right about here. And then I might even just stick the stem in with it as well to see if it will root or grow, and see what we can get from it as well. So what I've done is I cut off the bottom, and I made sure that there was a node. I wet the bottom here, and now what I'm going to do is just put it in the rooting hormone. I'm going to mix it in and make sure that there's rooting hormone on this as much as possible, and make sure that I shake off the excess because I don't want it to be too much. And then the next thing is to create a hole, because you don't want the rooting hormone coming off of it. So just create a hole like that, and you stick it in that and pinch it together. So that is what it looks like so far. So this is what it looks like here in the container. I also put the other piece in there, just in case it roots, and I'll have two plants instead of one. And the cover is going to come over it like this. I had to cut off some of the leaves, but yeah, the cover will come over it. The first what I'm going to do is water it in. Water it in really well. And then I'm going to close it up. I used the packing tape to tape around the opening, and this is what the results are. This is what it looks like. So the cutting is in its own little greenhouse, and now I just need to find a really good location for it where it won't overheat, but where it can also still get some light, and it will stay moist for a while. I'll just have to monitor it and put it in a nice shady location in the garden. So now I'm going to finish up the rest of them, and then I'll show you what it looks like, all 4 of them completed. I completed the 4 bottles. They're looking good. I added the stem, the extra stem, so we'll see if that will root. But I kept some of the leaves. I cut off all the excess leaves. This is the final product, and I'm hoping that we will be successful. The good thing about using the plastic clear bottles is that I'll be able to see if there's any root activity happening without having to pull the plant out of the container. And so now it's just about finding a good location to place them in that is shaded, and continue to monitor the growth to see if there's any action happening.